Hi all, and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about how I cope with the idea of using donor eggs. So how I got my head around it and basically just my thoughts on it and things I've read in forums and things like that that have sort of made me confident that it is the right thing. So I've known for a long time, so I guess that sort of helps the idea sink in. Again, you're never going to really accept it. I did get asked at one of our doctor's appointments, are you okay with using donor eggs? And my response was, I'm never going to be okay with it, but I can accept it as much as possibly humanly possible. You're always going to have that, you know, it's grieving, that grieving process for your own eggs. So these are my thought patterns. So I don't think it's an option to use my eggs at all. I don't even think I have any eggs. I've been told various things in my last ultrasound, which was only last week. They can't find my right ovary at all. It took them a good 5 minutes to find my left one. I think it's safe to say that that's a no-go for me. The first way I thought about it is, if my family, for some strange reason, turned around and said, genetically, you're not related to us, I'd obviously be upset. There'd be some, you know, distrust, but that's not the issue here. But it wouldn't change my upbringing and my relationship with them, and the fact that I've got mannerisms like them and personality like them as well. So that was the first way I looked at it. As I got into my early 20s, I got my first dog. I had 2 dogs, and obviously they are not genetically mine, biologically mine, and I absolutely adore them. And obviously they don't act like me or have my personality, but the point is I love them and I care for them. I do mother my dogs, it's ridiculous. So the way I look at it is, again, that's that maternal instinct. You know, dogs become family. You might be a cat person, you might have other pets, but that doesn't change anything. So that was another way I looked at it. The way I've looked at it as I've got older as well, when I had the last reading of my follicle stimulating hormone level was 147, so it was kind of ruled out all like there and then that wasn't going to happen. However, that was a few years ago, but however, I don't want to go down that route. I could ask for more tests at my eggs, I could try, but I'm not going to, because I see these, I read a lot of forums. I'm trying to calm down on it a little bit because it can be more negative than positive. It depends on what you're reading. But so many ladies are clinging on to using their own eggs, and they're going through cycle of IVF, one after the other. And I just think, A, putting that many hormones through your body, B, the emotional roller coaster you must be going through, 3, the financial cost of it all, and it's a sell. I know that might sound so patronising, but it's a sell, and you have to ask yourself what is so important, because you might then finally catch, but your eggs are really poor quality, that you may miscarry, you know, there might be some sort of abnormality. You've really got to ask yourself, is it worth it? And maybe let go, because I can guarantee if you got pregnant with a donor egg, when that baby comes, you're not going to care. You really won't care if that was made by an alien or a duck, or I don't know why I said duck, anything. You're not going to care. You're really not going to care. Another way to look at it, if you're kind of clinging on to that child looking like you, I bet you can list at least 3 people that you know that their kids look nothing like them, or they look purely like their partner and not them. I've met twins before that look nothing alike. They don't look related. So if that's a reason, maybe change your mindset. There's obviously all that new evidence that came around a couple of years ago that by carrying a donor egg, the carrier has DNA in her womb, and that's actually getting passed through. There's only slight strands of DNA that's getting passed through, but it's actually having an impact on the child. The child is taking on some tiny bits of DNA. So basically, if that same embryo, so those embryos were cloned, if one was put in, say myself, a recipient, and the other put in the actual egg biological mother, and let's say there's 3, let's go for gold, and then another recipient if you're egg sharing, and it's the same father, the same sperm, those 3 children won't look alike. They'll look different. So it might be that if it was in me, for example, if it was sort of a kind of mousy brown hair, it might take on a darker hair trait. So you're not really going to get facial characteristics, but it might impact eye colour, hair colour, potentially. It's basically it affects what kind of characteristics that child takes on, which I think is really cool. I'm a little bit of a massive geek in that sort of whole biology thing, and in a weird twisted way, it's the positive of POF that I get to see all this side of things and investigate and do research, and my partner Tom loves it as well, so it's quite interesting. But that is something to bear in mind. If you're really holding on to that, there is something getting passed on. Another thing, and I know most people with infertility will agree with me with this, sometimes it's not having the baby, sometimes it's having the pregnancy. It's almost like healing. So if you've got an opportunity to actually get pregnant, that is just amazing. That's incredible. It's just, that is, you know, you might have the most horrific pregnancy ever, but that is brilliant. So I just think if your doctor is indicating that you need a donor egg, you should maybe seriously consider it. And there's so many stories out there that, like, donor parents have put out there that they, you know, adore their child, they wouldn't change the child, they're glad that they have to have a donor egg because they wouldn't have the child they have. It's not going to matter. It's really not going to matter, and you have to remember that it won't. You know it won't. So to try and let go, and I know it's grieving, and I still grieve for it all the time. I say to Tom, I was like, oh, that child over there, I think that's what colour our child would have been, or that's the hair they would have. And you know, it's nice now. It doesn't hurt. I've accepted it as much as I can. It doesn't hurt as much. I think you've just got to weigh up what's important. And also, I can also see a lot of stories, people being really picky about donors, about if they've got a degree, what they do for a living, their hobbies. You're going to have an impact on that child's life. You might get a rocket scientist of a donor, and if you don't nurture that child correctly, they might not do anything. And vice versa, you may get someone donate that doesn't work, and then with your nurture, they end up a rocket scientist. Now, there are some personality traits that I do believe are genetically passed on, but most is environmentally learned. It's you, it's how you bring them up, it's your mannerisms, like using your hands, the way you hold your mouth, the way you blink or look away, the way you touch your hair. Your child picks up on that. Your child will become you. So try to let go, because you get a bigger choice of donors if you just let go. I don't really care what I get, because as long as we get to have a family, I'm going to be happy. So that's basically my thoughts on donor eggs and how I've got my head around it. And it doesn't mean that I'm okay and happy about it, but that's the card I was dealt, and I've got to make the best out of a bad situation and try and make it as positive as possible. So I hope that's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.